Welcome as tenants at Gower Property. Congratulations on being chosen to rent with us. Please come this way to sign the contract. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
You've come to sign the lease?
Nice to meet
Come
you.
through. Thanks for coming in to sign your tenancy agreement. We'll just go through the formalities and then I'll hand you your set of keys and you'll be able to move in. The residential tenancy agreement which you are about to sign is a legal contract. It states the property address, the term of the lease, and the rental amount you are required to pay. It states the owner's full names, your former address, and the start and end date of the contract. Also included is the number of people permitted to live in the property. Remember, this is a legal contract and all the terms must be followed. The bond is lodged with the bond administrator and is generally the equivalent of 4 weeks' rent. Lodgement is electronic and you will receive an email and text message from the bond administrator which you are required to respond to, and that authorises the deposit of the agreed amount. If you are allowed a pet, the pet bond will also be included in this amount. Your tenancy is governed by the Residential Tenancies Act, and there is provision to review the rent every 6 months, and the conditions of review are stipulated in this contract. The lease will state what utility providers you should contact to connect electricity and gas supplies. Water consumption is paid by the owner and recovered by us from you. This lease is for a fixed term, and if for any reason you need to vary this, you must liaise with our office so we can find alternate tenants. Penalties will apply for breaking your lease, and these can be quite costly. A property condition report will be handed to you within 7 days of you moving into the property. It is important that you mark up any differences and return the form to our office. Before you move in, you must pay 2 weeks' rent in advance. After that, you can pay your rent calendar monthly, fortnightly, or weekly. Please note that rent must always be paid in advance of the due date. Rent is payable using the BPay method of payment. You're also liable for water consumption at the property. This may not apply in some strata situations. A final water meter reading will be done before you move in. You also need to connect the electricity and gas if it is connected to the property. We can assist you by providing forms to do this direct. If you're moving into a strata property, certain regulations apply, and a copy of the standard bylaws are attached to this agreement. They chiefly require you to park in your allocated car park, not hang washing on the balcony, keep noise to a minimum, not store your belongings on common property, and generally adhere to the bylaws. The owner will pay council and water rates and strata levies. The owner must also keep the premises insured. If there's ever a claim on the insurance and you are responsible, you may be asked to pay in excess. This insurance, however, does not cover your own contents. You are responsible for this. Once you've signed the contract and you've paid the bond and rent, you will be able to take possession of the property on the start date of the lease. At least one full set of keys and electronic devices will be given to you then. The property can only be used as residential premises and not for any illegal purpose or other purpose without written approval from the owner. In turn, the owner must keep the property in good repair, and all fixtures and fittings provided at commencement must be maintained by the owner throughout the course of the tenancy. There is provision for emergency repairs, and briefly, if the owner fails to respond to your request to repair an essential service within 24 hours, or 48 hours in case of general maintenance issues, you have the ability to arrange these yourself. However, we urge you to use caution and first discuss these options with our office. We conduct regular inspections of the property. The first is 6 weeks after you move in, and then every 3 months. We are required to give you written notice at least 7 days and no more than 14 days before that inspection. This notice can be emailed to you. If the date and time doesn't suit, you're able to call our office to arrange another time. You are not permitted to alter the property in any way. This includes hanging pictures, painting rooms, moving shrubs, and so on. Always contact our office to discuss your intentions first. Under the Residential Tenancies Act, there are minimum requirements for locks and security devices, and your property manager will discuss these with you. If you lose your keys, you are liable for the cost of replacement. Although our office keeps a spare set of keys, these are not available to you outside working hours. In other words, this means that if you lock yourself out after office hours, then you must call a locksmith. If during the course of your tenancy you need to move, there are penalties which will apply for breaking the lease. Once again, your property manager will discuss these with you and explain what you may be liable for. At the end of the lease, you must give us 30 days notice of your intentions if you are moving out. This must be in writing. The same applies if the owner wants possession at the end of your lease. If your tenancy is ended by us for a breach, your name may be lodged on a tenancy database. If you have any queries or disputes, these can be referred to the Department of Commerce. Form 1AAA is attached to your lease and forms part of the lease. It outlines the provisions for reviewing the rent, and your property manager will discuss these with you. If you have a pet, there is an attachment to the lease providing for this. No smoking is permitted in the premises. Whilst there may be a telephone point in the property, the owner makes no representations about the availability of telephone lines in the area, and you should make your own inquiries. You are required to keep the premises clean and sanitary and free from dirt, oils, grease, insects and vermin. The tenant is responsible for treatment of insects and vermin infestation caused by the lack of cleanliness or other activities. If there are items left behind belonging to the owner, for example, curtains, bookcases, and you do not want to use these, they must be stored safely and returned to their positions at the end of the tenancy. The property has compliant smoke alarms and RCDs, and you are required to test these from time to time. If they're not working, you must give us immediate written notice of the fact. You must also replace any broken light globes and fluoro tubes during the course of your tenancy. If there are gardens, you are responsible for maintaining these in the same condition as when you first moved in. You are liable for watering and fertilizing the gardens. If there is a pool or spa, you must keep chemical levels topped up and report any problems to us. You're not permitted to drain the pool without first obtaining permission to do so. You must immediately report any damage or disrepair to us within 72 hours. Failing to do so may render you liable for repairs. At the end of your tenancy, You're responsible for having carpets cleaned and returning the property to its original condition. Rent will be charged until the keys are returned to our office. Our special conditions are attached to this lease and were made available to you with the application form. Thank you for listening to me. We look forward to working with you from now on. We'll just go through all the terms of the contract, which I have already done with you, and then I'll just get you to sign there, please.
Sure.
And if you date it, over there, please date it. And just at the bottom of the page to say you've received a copy of the contract. Thanks, Laura. This is your copy. We'll keep a copy. You will hear from the bond administrator confirming your bond has been deposited. And I hope you have a pleasant stay. Here are your keys.
Thank you.
And all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.